Thank you, David. There's a reason we call David Pastor David. He has the pastor's heart. He has the healing in his music, in his words. And David, I really appreciate what you shared with us and the way in which you're helping us to cross the digital space with love. I felt that. I felt the love from you who are with us over the various digital platforms. I was thinking yesterday how much I love nature, how much I was walking with my wife and my daughter, Lila, on the riverside here in Tulsa by the gathering place. We saw a giant eagle flying over. We saw lots of geese flying everywhere. The river was flowing. By the end of the walk, there was a giant rainbow, and we could see the whole thing, almost the entire thing. You rarely see that from beginning to end. It was just gorgeous. My wife, of course, snapped pictures of it all, as she's known to do. And I was thinking how much I love nature and how much I want to do what I can do to protect nature and the natural environment. With everything happening right now, with the wildfires and the storms, hurricanes, and other things that have just been breaking records, the breaking record heat temperature on the earth this year from the first highest in recorded history. I've been thinking a lot about what do I need to do to be part of the solution? What do I need to do to help? And I just wonder, do I need to completely change my life? I mean, I do the usual things. I recycle. I eat organic food as much as I can. I try to buy local foods and produce and things like that. So I'm doing what I feel like I can do. I'm even driving a hybrid car now and just trying to do my part. And then other people tell me if I take a plane flight anywhere, I've already completely ruined my carbon footprint, and almost anything that I've done before with recycling, it's just not enough. And so I find myself struggling because I have a lot of causes that I care about deeply. I bet one of the things that I've worked so hard and feel called to do is work for human equality, for women, for LGBT folks, for across race, and just so that the human family can see each other as one. So I don't know, do I need to put all that aside so that I can work on the environment? I've really been struggling with this, and I decided to ask somebody who is a hydrogeologist and an environmental lawyer. And more importantly to us here at All Souls right now she is our ministerial intern this year, Karyn Marsh, who comes to us with just an incredible background in these topics. So Karyn, I'm turning to you, and I want to ask you, what's a person like me to do? I don't think I'm the only one who feels this way, and I know we want to be on the right side of history, and yet we don't know really what are the best things to do. And so help us out this morning. I'm hoping that you have something to share with us that will help us. Help me.
Well, Marlin, you're not alone in this dilemma of figuring out how to be a part of the solution in the midst of everything else that's going on. Even though I've spent my entire adult life working on environmental issues, I too struggle and feel a sense of hopelessness at times. So very few of us, including me, are ready to give up our lives and careers and go live off the grid. So what is a person supposed to do?
Yes, please.
Well, in doing environmental work over the years, I've come to realize what it means that everything is interconnected. I now understand that gender justice, racial justice, economic justice, and indigenous rights are all part of environmental justice. They all help the environment. Let me explain more. I took a course last year led by the Pachamama Alliance, which is an organization set up to help protect the Amazon rainforest. Now, the Pachamama Alliance worked with over 200 scientists and economists to determine and evaluate what are the best solutions to climate change. And guess what they discovered? It turns out that out of 100 solutions that they evaluated, the number 4 solution to reduce greenhouse gases was educating girls. Yep, educating girls, which of course is a key element in gender justice. It not only reduces the size of families, but it empowers women who in turn change their communities. They strengthen their local communities. Have you ever heard of the mothers of East Los Angeles? In 1986, Rosa DiSeno, Lucy Ramos, Mary Lou Trevis, and Aurora Castillo, among others, formed a group to oppose the siting of a new state prison in East Los Angeles, their neighborhood. They had learned about the plan from Assemblywoman Gloria Molino, who was the first Latina elected to the California Assembly. Now, East Los Angeles is a low-income neighborhood that is 90%, 96% that is, Hispanic Latino, and remains so even today. And like many poor neighborhoods, East Los Angeles has been targeted for building polluting industrial facilities. Now, these women stood up to the state of California by organizing, protesting, and ultimately winning when the plan was voted down in 1991. But the mothers of East Los Angeles went further than just opposing the prison. They began advocating for a clean and healthy environment in lower income communities across Southern California, and they're still doing it today. They successfully fought the siting of an incinerator in Vernon, California, and of a hazardous waste treatment facility in Huntington Park. Now, both of these proposed facilities would have been within a short distance to homes, schools, churches, hospitals, and food processing facilities. And so they posed a toxic hazard to the people who live there. Imagine having an incinerator in your backyard. Now, these mothers who initially sought to keep a prison from their neighborhood ended up protecting not only their neighborhood, but the neighborhoods of others. So everything is interconnected. Now, a few years ago, our country saw a major uprising of indigenous peoples working to stop the Dakota Access Pipeline from jeopardizing their waterways. So supporting indigenous communities is another powerful way to help the environment. I have another example. The Dongria Cone, and I guess Marlin, having traveled in India, knows this area. The Dongria Cone are the indigenous people of the Nyamgiri Hills in Odisha, India. The Nyamgiri Hills are ecologically significant. The endangered Bengali tiger lives in this dense primeval forest covering the region, and the region offers critical migration routes for the elephants. The forest is also the source of water and food and medicinal plants and fuel for the Dongria Cone. As the home of their local deities, they actually consider the mountain to be a god. This land is sacred to them. Well, in 2003, a London-based mining company, Vedanta, proposed to extract the bauxite from the Nyamgiri Hills. The mining operation would effectively destroy the forest by clear-cutting and would displace 8,000 Dongria Cone who rely on that forest for their sustenance. Now, a local social justice worker, Prafula Samantara, learned of the plan and realizing that the Dongria Cone could not read English necessary, that's what the notice came out in English and Hindi, and that they didn't have computer access, he alerted them to this plan. As a result, they organized, and he filed a suit under India's environmental laws, but also used publicity to pressure investors to pull their funding from the project. One of these investors was the Church of England. In July of 2008, activists from the Odisha visited St. Paul's Cathedral, and in order to show the church how they were supporting destruction of sacred land, they filed a permit to demolish the cathedral, St. Paul's Cathedral, for the minerals in the building. An ad was placed in the paper the next day showing a wrecking ball smashing the cathedral's dome. Well, the same week, Vedanta was holding its annual meeting right there in London. But the message came through loud and clear to investors like the Church of England, and it pulled its money out of the project. The loss of investors, combined with the Indian legal process spearheaded by Samantara, who eventually won an environmental award, that eventually killed the project. Now, the story of Dongriacone shows how our investments can have a profound impact upon the environment and indigenous people around the world. In fact, our investments show how connected we are to the rest of the world. Well, just this week, for instance, small individual investors shocked Wall Street by using their collective buying power to upset our entire financial system. You may have heard about the GameStop buying spree that cost hedge funds billions of dollars. And some of those who sparked this revolution did it out of anger at the injustice of this system. Well, one injustice that I think everyone can relate to is access to food. Here in the US, many impoverished neighborhoods do not have easy access to grocery stores where they can buy, healthy, fresh food. In 2015, the residents of West Dayton started to have community meetings to discuss this very issue. You see, their last grocery store had closed down, so they had nothing, and many didn't have transportation to get out to the grocery stores that were further outside the city. So out of these discussions, and with the support of Dayton City and County Public Health Department, the community formed a committee to research the feasibility of a cooperative grocery store right there in West Dayton. Inspired by the Apple Street Market in Cincinnati, the community developed a plan for the Gem City Market, which will open in the first quarter of this year, 2021. The cooperative market offers many benefits to the community. The market will hire, for instance, local residents with a goal of hiring at least 15% women and people of color. I think as of last week, they had 36% hired. It will spur further business development along that corridor. They'll offer classes in nutrition, cooking, a mini health clinic there on site, and they'll provide a community space for people to gather. But besides providing food, Amaha Selassie, who is the Gem City Market Board President, says that the market will provide a sense of community, self-determination, and above all, hope. Gem City Market will also have this ripple effect because it will buy from local producers and thereby support sustainable agriculture and family farms in the Ohio region. You might be interested to know that the Gem City Market has been financed in part by its members, including the Miami Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. And based on the principles of Unitarian Universalism, their church has an active food justice ministry. But the roots of activism go deep in our tradition. Since the 1840s, our transcendentalist forebears pioneered new forms of civil disobedience, peaceful protest, and cooperative living. Many people know of Henry David Thoreau's protest against the War of 1812 and his famous essay titled Civil Disobedience that helped inspire Gandhi and many others in later justice movements. And others have probably heard of transcendentalists like Theodore Parker, who were leaders in the anti-slavery movement and worked alongside Frederick Douglass and others. But these transcendentalists, all the way back to the mid-1800s, were also experimenting with cooperative living. Communities based in the principles of communal living, such as a place called Fruitlands, that was established by Unitarian Amos Bronson Alcott, and another named Brook Farm, they were all founded by Unitarians. They attempted to live out what they saw as the ideals of transcendentalism, which included meeting the needs of all people so that everyone could live a full and bountiful life. Their faith values led them to work for justice. Causes like ending slavery, giving women the vote, and protecting nature were all seen as sacred endeavors. Just like the Dongria Cone in Indian, the transcendentalists who came out of our churches and helped lead and shape them believed that people are part of nature, not above it, not separate, but part of nature, and that nature is sacred, that we are all, in fact, sacred. So they worked to protect what is sacred, all human life and the earth. And I think we can do the same. When we protect humans from injustice, we are protecting the environment and vice versa. Everything is interconnected. So my answer to your dilemma, Marlin, which is really everyone's dilemma, is to work for justice, however you feel called and are able to make a difference. Work for justice. Whatever you do for the good of all will help to save the planet for all. That is what all the people whose stories I've shared have done. And I would say we should all go and do likewise.
Karyn, thank you for that. So the lawyer has spoken. She's made her case. She's provided some evidence. You're part of the jury. I'm part of the jury. Karyn, you've got my vote. I believe in what you're saying. I believe that whatever we do for justice makes a difference across the world. The stories of indigenous people from India going to England and saying they're going to take a wrecking ball to the cathedral to show them how to mine it for its minerals, to show them what it means to take something sacred and destroy it in order to harvest some of natural resources. I just think all these stories remind me of what's possible, what I can do, what you can do. And it doesn't mean giving up all of our possessions or upending our lives completely, but just finding ways to work for justice that we're passionate about, ways that you get turned on by making a difference to make this world a better place during the short time that we have on this earth. We can make a difference. And whatever difference we'll go out and make, we will also impact the environment. Everything is truly interconnected. The transcendentalists taught us that centuries ago, and now it's our turn and our time. And I appreciate the ways in which our congregation is coming together to make a difference. May it be so. May all of the communities around this world find ways to spark justice, to make all of nature, including all human and animals and others, respected in such a way that we preserve our planet, human life, and the life of all beings. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. For 100 years, All Souls in Tulsa has been a beacon of this free faith. We offer our services and programs freely online for all those who are interested. You can help us to do this by making a one-time gift today or a reoccurring pledge. We really appreciate you joining us and being a part of helping us make All Souls in Tulsa what it is. Thank you.
Our closing music this morning is Blue Boat Home, and you are invited to sing along. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been saved.